This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
You know what, I was busy yesterday and I didn't get a chance to do a video on what Barry Hearn said about the whole Joshua versus Wilder situation, reasons why it fell apart, and his idea for what he personally would like. And people are saying, why haven't you done a video on it? Why haven't you done a video on it? Well, sometimes people, I do actually have a life of my own, and you know what, I can't always do every single story out there. I don't have enough hours during the day, especially during the summer holidays with the kids being at school. But just for the haters, I'm going to do this video because people seem to think that they've got Eddie Hearn and Joshua by the gonads, say, well, this fight didn't happen because it's your fault, and it's your fault, and it's your fault because Barry Hearn didn't want the fight next. Right, newsflash for you all you haters out there. And I'm pretty sure probably where they got it from wasn't necessarily because they seen Barry Hearn on his fishing competition thing on IFL TV. It's probably because I'm presuming now that there's going to be plenty of Wilder fanboy channels out there making videos on this one, running with that narrative. I'm also going to speculate as well, again I could be wrong, that none of these Wilder fanboys mentioned anything about Frank Warren. And you know what, I want to cover that right now for all of you. So, starting with Barry Hearn. So Barry Hearn, he's doing his fishing competition for charity. And Kun Cassius asking about the whole Wilder and Joshua situation. Because we know Barry Hearn used to be a promoter for boxing, but he no longer is. He's not involved in the boxing side at all. He's not an advisor. He's not financials. He's nothing to do with it. But of course, if Eddie Hearn needs some kind of money to send to a fighter, then Barry Hearn can dig into his own bank account and give Wilder the guaranteed money if necessary. So that's probably about as far as Barry Hearn's involvement goes. But Eddie Hearn did use his dad, Barry, to go over to New York to speak with Deontay Wilder's manager, Shelly Finkel. The reason for it, them two have known each other for years. So Barry was doing him a favour. He wasn't there on business. He was doing him a favour. So Barry Hearn, he says that in an ideal world, and this isn't the first time he said it quite a while ago, and we've covered this one to death, but for all the haters out there who just want to jump up and down and cry and scream and bitch, all that kind of thing, saying that Barry Hearn, he said, because in an ideal world, him fighting, or Joshua fighting Wilder in 2 years' time is the best solution as far as he's concerned. And he's thinking financially. So at the minute, this fight may be, what, 50, 60, 70 million pounds worth. But in 2-3 years' time, if these guys go undefeated all that time, then come together, it could well be a 200, 300 million pound fight. And he's correct, it could be. But the problem is, can either of these guys go that long and stay undefeated? Don't know, do we? We don't know, and it's a risk. And this is what Barry Hearn also said in that video as well. It's a risk. But regardless of that, it doesn't matter what Barry Hearn says. Barry Hearn has nothing to do with it, okay? Nothing to do with it, okay? So, because Barry Hearn, in an ideal world, doesn't want this fight next, that doesn't mean that Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn don't. And it proved it because they reached out to Wilder. They offered him contracts. Come fight us next. Here's $15 million guaranteed. Come over and we'll fight you in October, November time at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. Remember that bit, okay? So whatever advice or whatever feelings Barry Hearn had, Eddie Hearn and Joshua ignored it. Wilder agreed to the 15 million. He agreed to everything, but he didn't sign the contract. Remember that bit. He didn't sign it. So now let's flip over to one of the reasons why this deal fell apart. Because people want to say, well, Anthony Joshua, he turned down 50 million. And again, I'm so sick to death of covering this because people just don't get it. Some people just don't get it. I don't want to be rude, but there's an element of Deontay Wilder fans that, is it like an initiation to join the Wilder fan club that you've got to lose all common sense? Let me explain this to you. Frank Warren, okay? He said that Shelly Finkel, whatever you want to call him, Deontay Wilder's manager, approached Frank Warren, showed him the contract, and he wanted 50 million. Frank Warren said that they will give him 50 million to put the fight on, but the fight has to be on BT Sport. So this is where the 50 million was coming from. It wasn't coming from Al Heyman. It wasn't coming from anywhere else except Frank Warren's BT Sport. You still don't get it? Anthony Joshua cannot fight on BT Sport. He can't. I said this to you guys a couple of weeks ago. He can't fight on BT Sport. Eddie Hearn, he confirmed this a couple of days ago. I don't know why it took him so long to reconfirm it, but he confirmed it. Everything that I've said about Joshua and Wilder from the beginning until now, I've been correct on. Not one bit have I been wrong. Not one bit. And I challenge you. Go find something where I was wrong. 50 million was not real. It wasn't really there. Well, I say it wasn't. It was, but from Frank Warren. But Frank Warren, he knows himself. He can't put on that fight on BT Sport. Joshua is legally bound to Sky Sports here in the UK. Doesn't matter about any other network throughout the rest of the world. They can all show his fights. It doesn't matter to him. But in the UK, it must be Sky Sports. It cannot be BT Sport. So the 50 million wasn't there. It wasn't there. It was a fake offer. Shelley Finkel knew that. Frank Warren knew that. The only person who probably didn't know that would be Deontay Wilder, to be fair. So, again, who cares what Barry Hearn says about this? It's not important. It's not important. Because Eddie Hearn and Joshua approached Wilder. They offered him a contract. They agreed to the terms. They agreed everything. They sent the contract through. Wilder didn't sign it because he wanted a date and a venue, as in a solidified date and venue on the contract. They didn't know the date and venue because they weren't too sure if the fight was going to happen, but they did know it was either going to be in the last week of October or first week of November or thereabouts. But it would definitely be at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales, not Wembley. Why? Because the only day that's free at Wembley, September 22nd, is no good for American broadcasters. Showtime didn't want that to be on pay-per-view around that time because that's 1 week after Triple G and Canelo the rematch. They're worried that that pay-per-view would suck. That's why. So October, November was the date. All Wilder had to do was sign. But he didn't want to sign because there was no date and venue confirmed 100% in the contract. But yet here he is, signed to fight Tyson Fury with no date and venue. Amazing that, isn't it? So all you Wilder fanboys, as in, I'm talking to the extreme ones here, think about what it is before you drop a little comment on the page. You can't do that, okay? There is nothing about this I don't know. We have covered this on this channel so many times. I don't even have to prepare to do any kind of videos for this kind of thing. I know it already. And because you guys are maybe listening to like these other channels who just want to, I don't know, wake up each day just to try and criticise Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua because they want to make Wilder look like a big bad scary beast that everyone's avoiding. Nobody's avoiding Wilder, nobody. Nobody ever has. It's ridiculous. These people wake up each morning just to try and find something that they can make a video on with Eddie Hearn and Joshua to try and discredit them. Have they made a video about Frank Warren and the fact that he's offering the 50 million and nobody else is? But that fight cannot happen on BT Sport. Have they done this video? You tell me if they have. I have no idea. I don't watch these people. Because I know what they're like. I know what their agenda is. I know what the Wilder fan club is as well. I know it. We all know it. I mean, really, who cares what Barry Hearn says? It's interesting. I like Barry Hearn. Barry Hearn is a straight down the line guy. Straight down the line. Very, very smart. And guess what? He admitted in that video, as I've been saying for months now, that he has nothing to do with boxing. He can advise. He can speak to Joshua. He can advise Joshua. Joshua doesn't have to listen. Guess what? Joshua didn't listen. He put in a contract offer to Wilder to fight him next. Wilder didn't sign it. I don't know. Is it a plausible question to ask? Did Frank Warren scupper this deal because he wanted Wilder versus Tyson Fury? He didn't want an Undisputed on the Matchroom side? Is it possible? I'm not saying he did. I'm asking you, is it possible? Are the Wilder fanboy channels making videos on this? That there is a possibility that this fight didn't happen because the 50 million wasn't really there. It couldn't be there because Joshua can't fight on BT Sport. And they couldn't get the 50 million anywhere else. But yet Wilder had a contract for 15 million. But yet you guys don't care about money. You just want to see the fight. You don't care how much Wilder gets. Isn't that what you guys have been saying for months and months now? And as soon as Wilder is negotiating with Joshua, and Wilder shouldn't sign it. Wilder should walk away. Wilder's worth so much more than this. This is a $100 million fight. This is a $200 million fight. Like you know. Like you know. Like you have some kind of Nostradamus kind of thoughts as to how well each fight's going to do. Come on, man. Stop hating. This subject is dead. It's finished. It's dead. Joshua versus Povetkin. Wilder versus Fury. That's what's next. Concentrate on that. Don't worry about why a deal fell apart. We know why the deal fell apart. Because the $50 million wasn't there. Because of the BT Sport and Frank Warren. And secondly, because Wilder didn't sign to fight Joshua, even though he agreed all the terms. That's why the fight didn't happen. Use your noodle. Catch you all in the next video. Subscribe.